Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. This is Steph Lee, the founder of Host Agency Reviews, and we are so excited to have you on our webinar today. Thank you so much for joining us. I see we have, I think it's Abby in the comments today. We would love to hear where you're tuning in from today. We have another snowfall today here in Minnesota. So
oh boy,
we can officially confirm that winter is here. Oh, we've also got someone from Wisconsin with a wintry mix, so they're also experiencing it. Phil, let me introduce Phil. Phil Cappelli with Avoya. He is the Chief Sales Officer. Phil, where are you tuning in from today?
Yeah, you guys aren't going to like me too much if you're in the snow. I'm in Tampa, Florida.
So it's snowing there as well?
It is not. We haven't seen snow, no. It's 70 degrees and pretty perfect. There was a little bit of rain this morning, but actually, it's going to be pretty cool. We've got a cool front coming in, probably about like 50 degrees this weekend, which most people in this area have never seen. So it'll be
really? That's very quaint that's called a cold front.
I know. Well, if you're in Minnesota and Wisconsin and Michigan, and I spent most of my life in Connecticut, I know the cold.
You know the role then.
I do. I don't miss it.
Yeah. So those of you tuning in, I know some of you are watching live. Some of you are going to be watching the recorded version, but at any time, ask your questions in the comments. If there's a space in them, we will ask them during the presentation that Phil is going to be putting on. Otherwise, we can go over them at the end. If you're watching at a later date and you have questions for Avoya, in the comment section, just pop it in there. And usually I'll get back to you right away and pass it on to Avoya, and they're great at getting back to you right away. So today's webinar is 5 secrets to running a successful travel agency. And then the keywords are in today's market, because today's market is very, very different than what we were looking at pre-COVID. So I'm really excited to hear what you've got going on today, Phil. So I'm going to let you take it away.
Sure. We've got a lot going on. Feel free to ask questions anytime. Like if you want to stop me through stuff, if somebody's got a great question. I can't necessarily see the questions because I'm in full screen mode here, but if there's anything you want to stop and ask me about, let's do it. The purpose of doing a webinar like this for us at Avoya and for myself is for you guys to understand, the business a little bit more, understand a lot of you are new to the industry, help you out with that. Obviously, you guys do a great job at Host Agency Reviews, so it's great to have that, and I'm happy to be here and answer any questions, provide you a little bit of detail in the time we have about Avoya and what we do, and I'll go from there. And feel free to ask questions.
Yeah, and Phil, before sorry, just a real quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Would love to get to know a little bit more about the audience, so Phil can get a better feel.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah, so if you can let us know how long you've been in business, we would love to hear that. And then the other thing I wanted to remind people, if you haven't registered yet, if you stumbled on this because you saw we were going live on the YouTube or LinkedIn channel, go ahead and register. We're going to have Abby drop the registration link in the comments. And the reason you want to register is that way afterwards we send resources that we discuss during the webinar, as well as Phil, I don't know if you feel comfortable sharing the slides, but sometimes we'll share the slides too as well.
Yeah, I'm more than comfortable with that. Tyler can send those on, and we're happy to share slides and answer any questions. I mean, the way we look at it as Avoya is we're open and we want people to understand what we do in this space. And if people have questions about that, happy to answer them.
Perfect.
And I think it's helpful though, like you said, like put how long, maybe, where you're coming from, which is always interesting. And then, city, whatever, but more, how long you've been in the business, and then any, questions you have and all that. And we can do some good follow-up for all of you.
Excellent. Christine is from Texas, less than 1 year. So welcome, Christine. We're so excited to have you here.
Yeah. No, it's great. Thanks for doing that. I think it'll allow us to, as we go through this, to be able to maybe, put it in a way that is more understandable. But I'm going to go with the premise that you guys are pretty new to travel and new to the travel industry. And some of you might have some experience, and that's great. Always love to hear that. But I'm just going to talk about myself there. That's I think I looked a little younger back then, Stephanie, no question, than I do now.
I have that same problem.
I think it's changed a little bit. It looks like maybe that was airbrushed too, so I'm not sure.
I love it.
My hair is a little grayer, but Just a little bit about myself. Obviously, you see my name there. I'm the Chief Sales Officer of Avoya Travel. I've been here 14 months, but I've been in the travel industry going on a long time, as my gray hair will show you. I started my career at Tauk, which many of you might know as a tour operator, on the phones as a reservationist. Really just grinding. And I remember back in the day, I was taking over 100 phone calls a day, talking to travel agents, understanding the business, selling tours and all that. So that's where I started my career.
Wow.
From there, I went on. I did that for a few years. Then I was a supervisor in the call center. Ended up leaving the call center as a vice president after about 6 years, and then went on to head up sales for Taup. Did that for many years, actually. And my total time at Taup was about 13 years. And then I transitioned over to Insight Vacations, which is part of the Travel Corporation, another tour operator. Was VP of National Accounts there for years, and for a couple of years. And then I was named president, I think in 2011, and I ran Insight Vacations for 5 years.
Great companies.
Yeah, great companies. I've been blessed in who I've worked with. And so I ran Insight for 5 years, was traveling almost 200 days a year, really calling on travel advisors and this whole host agency world. I mean, I knew Anderson Travel and Aoya Travel well, but has kind of changed a little bit for suppliers, how they interact with all of you and how they interact with us at Avoya now. But back in the day when I was doing it, we were really going to so many events, conferences, and that's still the case with many people, but it's amazing. So those 200 days on the road, really kind of after 5 years and many years, I decided to spend a little time with my family, did that for a while. Then I went to work heading up partnerships for Signature Travel Network, which is another one that has host agencies as well. Was there for 5 years. And then I've always had respect and admiration for what Anderson Travel originally, and then Avoya Travel, the Anderson family, Brad, Van, Jeff, Mike, the group. I had been calling on them for many years and decided to come over as their chief sales officer for 14 months ago. So it's been a great career in travel. I love the industry. I love talking to travel advisors that are starting out, folks that have been in it for a while, just ways that we can help you in these roles and at these companies to grow your business. At the end of the day, it is a challenging environment, as you know, Stephanie. It's not easy. A lot of suppliers have big debt, after COVID, and it's an aggressive marketplace, no question.
Yeah, for those that are, because I see there's a lot of newbies on here, I just want to comment on Phil's background. This is a great resource for us because he has the tour operator background. He has the call center background, which is like an agency background.
Yeah.
He has the consortia background, and now he has the host background, which is like having that 360-degree view you don't get very often.
Yeah, it allows me to have like access and understanding of the supplier relationships, the way that goals are built, the way that they work with all of you with commissions and all that. So it allowed me to have a real kind of 360 view of the industry, and I love it. And for those of you getting into it, maybe you're new to it, it's a great industry, and everything that you put into it, you'll get out of it. I can promise you that. And not the easiest industry, as you might know. It's challenging with all the things that are kind of outside influences,
like a pandemic,
like a pandemic, like an election, like instability in certain regions, like challenging times. But at the end of the day, it's full of really good people trying to provide amazing vacations and times for families and couples and people. So it's a great business to be in. So if you're on this call, you're in the right space. Now, how do we figure out how to take you to the next level? I think would be the best way to talk about it. So agenda, who is Avoya Travel? Been around 60 years at Avoya Travel now. It's amazing how fast that goes. Started as a bricks and mortar company back in the day in Hawaii, then California, moved around a little bit there, but then became Avoya and really focused on the host agency side. And they've been, Stephanie, as you know, one of the few that have been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, they were in the
tradition of support. Very big, and great tradition of support. I'll talk to you guys a little bit about that on how we support independent advisors, what we look like with that. But this company is grounded, stable, and with 60 years of success behind it, has really built a great ecosystem on how we do business and how we're respected in the industry, and it allows us to get special, promotions and special commissions and different ways that we do business with the suppliers because of our strength. And we've been one of the biggest for many years. It allows us to, big. When I say big, I mean in this industry, big. You can look us up as far as how much revenue we produce and all that. But at the end of the day, we're still nimble enough, 120 people working at Avoya, that we're able to really, focus on what we're doing with the advisors and making sure that we're providing you guys with everything you need. So that's just a little bit about who Avoya is. How do we support you guys? Well, we've got a whole team. And when you look at us, I mean, I won't get too deep into this because obviously you're still learning about all of it, but we've got a brand sales team that works with all of you when you come on to Avoya to talk about all the brands that are preferred partners of our network. They work with you to understand the features, benefits, the ships, the deck plans, everything you need to know to make your experience for your customer that much better. Got 4 or 5 people there that's their sole focus, is to work with our IC community, which is over 2,000 advisors now. We're at 2,100, which is amazing, Stephanie. I don't know if you known what we're up to now. Yeah, but over 2,100.
Well, I know you guys have those great education programs
we do.
And so that doesn't surprise me that you're growing.
Yeah, the Avoya Academy is really where it starts. So people that are new to the business, want to understand what it's like, can go into our Avoya Academy, learn everything they need to know about the business, and then choose to either go with Avoya or with somebody else. We give them the option. It's your choice to check out, the Avoya Agent Academy. And we really love what we've done there and the training and what we provide. And we love that, we put it out there to say, this is important information for you to know. This is what we do. But if somebody else makes more sense for you, then certainly you can go that route too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's really the start of it. And we support you with, network support. We've got people that are constantly answering support requests on destinations, IT issues. We have our own Agent Power CRM that we built many years ago, which is a great tool for doing business for all of you. And working with the support teams and the IAs to understand how to maximize those CRM and those booking tools for you, how to do that. There's a lot that you need to learn, especially when you're new. So we feel like putting the time and the resources and the money into supporting the network is the best thing that we could do to really grow the business. And we've seen that success over the years. Within that support group, we've got network enrichment. That's the training department. So now you're in through Avoya, you've done the academy, you're off and you're running and you're starting to sell. Now we've got a whole network enrichment team that works with you on training. You're selling premium level cruises. You want to sell luxury. How do we get you to that next level? We want, we talk about air, hotels and resorts, land programs. And so there's like a curriculum for all those that are involved in our network on how they learn and grow with us. Weekly webinars, they can total as many as 20 of events like that. Yeah, it's amazing how much we're doing on that side, where you learn like this, like have a conversation with an executive. I'll pull in a lot of the senior leaders from cruise lines, from tour operators, and we just kind of have like a fireside chat, and IAs are invited to that and kind of hear what's going on at the highest levels of these cruise lines and the tour operators and across the industry. And those are the types of things that we feel, if you have that insider access and understanding, it helps you as you're selling. So we do a lot to support, the promotions teams, what we do with groups. It's a pretty intricate network of what we do to support the overall Avoya ICs. We just came off in what's today? It's November, late September, October. We had our travel conference. It was on Norwegian Cruise Lines. We did it up in Eastern Canada, it was a fantastic place to go if you've never been. Quebec to New York. We had our biggest conference ever. Yeah, we had I think it was like 580 folks there. It was our biggest conference ever, which it was pretty, yeah, I mean, it was an amazing number when you consider you're kind of it's challenging in that you can only use the theater, for general sessions and all that. So we filled that theater pretty much to the top on every event and everything that we did. But the conference is certainly for suppliers to interact with RIAs, to really talk about one-on-one how they can grow their business. But it's also from everybody to hear at the general sessions that we do, just what it's looking like in the industry. What are some of the key things to look at? Hear from industry leaders. We had John Chernesky, the senior vice president at Norwegian, as our keynote, and he talked about just how do you sell and what you can do to grow your business. So we really are proud of the conferences we put on and the events. I don't know if you know this, Stephanie, but we had over 30 events in 24.
Just for your advisors?
Just for our advisors.
Like in-person events?
22 in person and 8 were virtual destination days.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. So obviously you can't go to all of those, but you can go to a lot of them. We set them up as regionals. So we have some regional meetings as well. We have the conference, which is a big deal. We've launched in the last few years what we call the $1 million showcase. So this is when now you're in the industry, you're growing in the industry, and now you're at $1 million. So you are somebody who's a professional. You've been doing this for a while. We invite those folks to come to our $1 million showcase, and we invite the suppliers to come in and talk to them. So if I had to boil down the most important thing, it's access to suppliers, understanding the product exceptionally well so that you can provide that expertise and experience to your customers. Because at the end of the day, people are going to go online, they're going to look up things, and that's a threat to the IA business, is the direct side of it. What you can do though is by learning all this information, attending these events, these webinars, even today, listening to this, although I tend to ramble, but you can stop me anytime. But listening to this, it just gives you access and understanding to things that a consumer is not going to be able to know on their own. And once you provide that level of understanding and experience, and sometimes you've seen these places, we offer a lot of FAMs and different events that people can go out and enjoy these tremendous destinations, and then you come back and obviously you're going to be more of an expert. But we were really happy with the conference this past year. And you talked about a little bit, Stephanie, understanding today's travel market. It's certainly different than it was years ago, and certainly different than it was 60 years ago.
Thank goodness.
Well, thank goodness, right? It was totally different. People used to go into an office, get coffee, wait for their advisor to show up. It was totally different. I feel we're in a golden age coming off of COVID.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, COVID clearly was exceptionally challenging for everybody involved, but those that stayed and those that are understand how challenging it was are going to do everything in their power, obviously, to make the new travel experience as good as we can. And we feel like the businesses for 24, we were just sharing on a company call I had right before this, that we're at our high water mark for total revenue booked in 24. And for 25, we're sitting 15 to 16% above that. So we're really the market is strong. So it's a great time for all of you that are coming into this business, because the market is exceptionally strong. It's resilient. The cruise lines are doing very well. So are the tour operators, hoteliers. It's obviously more pricey for your customers, and it's not what it used to be as far as overall value, but there still is tremendous value in there. There's the products keep getting better because the suppliers have to continue to innovate, come up with new experiences for people. So I feel like honestly we're in a golden age again of travel, and it's a great opportunity for all of you that are coming in.
Yeah, and do you mind if I share a few stats?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So for those of you that are new on the call, and you're going to get that response, oh, travel advisors still exist, and there's a couple of things you can come back to them that I love coming back with them. So if you know these exact numbers, Phil, you can interject. But with CLIA, it's 70% of advisors are responsible, or for all the cruise bookings, 70% are made through travel agencies, which is something not everybody knows. Internova did a research report on their traveler survey, and For people, it's up double digits from pre-pandemic levels, up to 32% that are using travel advisors now. 32% more are using travel advisors now compared to pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
So there's been a huge shift from the pandemic for those of you that haven't been in it for this whole exciting ride we've been on. But it's for tour operators. Is it something like 75% or 60%?
Yeah, it's in the 70s, so it really speaks to the importance of a trusted advisor, no question.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things when you're outside of the industry that's great to educate your clients on, or people that are interested in using you. Focusrite has travel agencies moving up into the number 2 position and going past online travel agencies to have 26% of market share for US travel sales in 2026, and OTAs are moving down to 21%. So those are fun stats I like to throw at people.
No, those are good ones. I'll throw one at you and you can answer it for everybody there. Like, what do you think is the number one generation that's using travel advisors?
Ooh.
You millennials, Gen X, boomers.
I feel like this is a trick question because
yeah,
I originally wanted to say boomers, but now I'm like, no, he's trying to trick me. I'm going to go Gen X, Z, millennial.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, and you're right. You picked that up. I was too careful in the way I said that, but yeah, it's always been boomers, right? I mean, they were traditionally the ones that were using advisors the most, but you'd be surprised at the level of millennials and Gen X that are using travel advisors now. Everybody's busier than they used to be, whether that's, scrolling Facebook or Instagram or everything, but people they want experience and they want expertise. And so that's why we're seeing that they're going to advisors in record numbers. And so that's why the trend for the future continues well to be an advisor and to be in the space.
Yep.
So we'll do some Q&A as we go along too. I wanted to get into this, and I'll just put these out there. So understanding today's travel market, what trends are taking over for the industry post-pandemic. Cruising's back, as many of you can probably know. It's definitely it's back big time. Royal Caribbean, if you just look at the stock prices of all these companies and where they've been since the pandemic, they're paying down their debt. They're getting stronger. The experiences they're putting out, you're seeing them on consumer advertising and TV a lot more. Cruising is just taken off. Tour struggled a little coming out of pandemic, but now is back at record numbers again. You see with all the big guys like Colette and Tauk and the big tour operators are back at record numbers. So is hotel and air. And Delta yesterday just announced that in their earnings and calls that 25 looks to be even stronger, with people buying more premium level seating for 25 than they ever have early in 24. So there's some good stats to say that, like we had started the conversation on, we're in a good market now, and it's time to really get in it, learn as much as you can, and be that expertise and have that experience for people. The landscape's constantly changing. Obviously, what happens with elections, and we talked about disrupting events, and global events are always going to be part of it. But when you can find a new opportunity or challenges that by providing understanding and experience, whether you've been there, or you've sold it a bunch, or you've been trained, you provide something that they don't have on their own. They're just customers looking at news. They're looking at their friends are telling them. You as a trusted expert can actually help them with these opportunities. I mean, with these questions that they may have. And trust me, as many of you know, and you're starting in this business, customers have a lot of questions. And
exactly.
But so knowing as much as you can, and then following up. I'm asked often, like, if there's one thing that's the most important thing you can do, whether you're a new advisor, new as a supplier, new in any position in this space, the importance of follow-up. I think there's such a lack of that across, the industry, not the industry so much, but just in general, like, people following up is just not as strong as it used to be. If you can show up every day, provide that level of expertise, and make sure you're following up to questions, making sure you're following up with suppliers, doing the one-on-one so you can stay current with what's going on. That's just key to the focus that'll take you forward. So that's
Mhm.
some of the things to staying ahead of the curve. That's the same kind of thing. Learning how, obviously, destination experience is important. Suppliers important. We help with all that. But then, what's going on in the space? Do people want to be contacted by phone, or would they rather be contacted through text? We set up a new system now, with our Agent Power, which was that CRM, where people can interact with our advisors through chat and
Mm.
only, and have conversations on there, get the booking process started. And these are the new things that we're doing. At Avoya this year, we launched a new booking engine on our website too. And different than maybe if you went to Expedia or any of these big companies that are all have booking engines, obviously. At Avoya, we're different because we give that lead to our IA network. So let's say somebody goes into Avoya, books it, but doesn't necessarily know if they, air, insurance, did they book the right thing? Every one of those bookings goes to our advisor. That's something critical to understand when you're thinking about which network to join or anything like that. Avoya is different, and we're proud of the way that we're launching the booking engine, and that we are keeping the advisor part of that as opposed to just taking that all in house. So there's
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah, go ahead, Steph. Go ahead.
Just wanted to jump in about Avoya's for, again, those that are newer. Their live leads program is
Yeah.
something they've been doing for as long, like a really long
Many,
time.
many years. Yeah.
They've been ahead of the game on that and have always been doing that with their advisors. And it's a very unique program as well, because Avoya has consumer brand recognition, which not a lot of host agencies do. And then they give those leads, but I don't know how much
No,
you
I think
spend
that's,
in
I was
online
gonna,
marketing, but
yeah.
tons and tons of leads and lots of exposure on the marketing side.
Yeah, I was going to get into that later, but I can do it now because we're talking about
Sorry,
it. No,
I'm
it's
sabotaging.
no, you're not sabotaging. It's helpful to have the conversation like that because that is critical to what we do and very different, right, than what
Hmm.
others are doing out there, especially for new to travel. When you're coming in, you're trying to build your book of business. You might not, you might have friends and family and you're growing it. What's different about joining Avoya, like you said, Stephanie, is we've got the live leads program. We spend a lot of money, millions on
Hmm.
marketing, millions to drive into the Avoya brand. And what we do is based on, who's in the network, when they're on the call, are they engaged with us in Agent Power? Are they signed on? You have a score, and we lead score the people that have come in through us, and we match them. So we're going to match your destination experience, your understanding after you've been through our different departments that kind of work with you to get up to speed. And so we'll give you those leads, and you work those leads. So these are people that are saying, I'm ready to book, you know, celebrity, beyond, and I want to go here, and they're all ready to go. We match that up with you to close the sale. And now with the booking engine, sometimes the sale's made and we send it to you to say, okay, what can you do to, add to this, whether it's air, insurance, hotel packages. So it's great to work with a company like Avoya that has all those leads that come in and they funnel into you based on your ability to sell. And I
Hmm.
think that's one of the neater things that our technology has done. And this technology has been around for many years at Avoya, and it keeps getting better and better by integrating booking engine, by integrating SMS text and all that. We're trying to find the best way for customers to interact with us and then our network.
Hmm.
And we're seeing, the people that are joining our network in record numbers now. I think the last number we just shared on the company call was, I think we had 680 new. Um,
Wow.
new to Avoya, which is amazing. And they're doing over 18 to 20 million dollars already with us. We
Wow. Is
shared
that the
that.
last year, or is that?
Yeah, in the
Wow.
last year. So some of those folks come in new, they engage with us fully, they're getting live leads, they're closing those leads. And then others are working out. And not everybody's full time, some are part time, but the numbers are encouraging on what we're seeing for people coming into us new. And I believe it's because of what we do to set you up for success,
Hmm.
with all the training programs and everything that we had talked about early. But it's certainly something to consider when you don't necessarily have a book of business, but you want to be an advisor and a consultant. When you work with a company like Avoya, you're going to have access to leads, and that's critical to growing your business. So, yeah, leveraging technology, understanding it as much as you can, and This is where we talk a little bit about that. Because we've designed these programs on lead process and doing all that, that's critical. And that technology empowers your business growth. At the end of the day, the beauty of the network and now and how people work is you can do this at home. You can do this in the Riviera. You can do this in Spain. You can do this anywhere. As long as you've got access and Wi-Fi, and everybody keeps getting better and better with that, we really help to build your business that way. We want to streamline your operations with automated back office task management. That's that agent power I was talking about in the CRMs that we have, that help you really understand. And I've said CRM a few times, many of you might know it as customer relationship management. Just to say what that is out there, just so you understand what we're doing there. Just helping you in your business to grow it and to take some of the admin stuff out of it, so you can focus on keep selling.
Maybe could you give some examples, Phil, of the automated back office tasks, since a lot of advisors on here aren't going to understand the sales process and how that can help them?
So with a lot of cruise lines, you get price changes all the time, whether that's down, sometimes they go up, but most of the time, if there's been sales or promotions, let's say we hear from Oceania that they're going to, cut pricing on certain levels. We have tools that will go in there and pick all those bookings that were related to that new promotion, and then send emails and notes out to the advisor to let them know that there's price changes here. So instead of you having to hear about it from your customer to say, hey, this price went down, I just saw it online, you'll have it before them. And we always work with the suppliers to get that kind of information prior, so that they can be the hero and call up the advisor, call up their customers and say, guess what? This price went down $200 to $300, and you'll be getting a refund on that. That's just one aspect.
That's a big one, though.
That's a big one. It's massive in having those types, and that's just one of the things we do. But the way we do credit cards, the way we do just automating all that back office stuff to allow you to just do more. So think about all the admin stuff that you're charged with, whether it's documentation management, credit card stuff, price changing, pre and post hotel. We just launched a new air system called Snap, from the folks at Internova, which were part of that consortia, travel leaders, and Internova group. So the kind of back office stuff that makes your life a lot easier, and the training that we provide, that network enrichment, that's what we call the department, is so critical to that success, because it's understanding what our CRM can do for you and how that admin and back office can help you grow your business. Does that do a better job of explaining that?
That was perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So how can tech free up time for client relationship building? What can you use as you're thinking about your day and your technology? Whether that's social feeds that you can use to grow your business, whether that's using the integrated SMS stuff that we do, just understanding how tech can help to boost efficiency. And there's a lot of, obviously, as you know, Steph, there's a lot of choices out there for folks new to travel. We feel like we're the best as far as technology. There might be others that would feel that they're better at hotels but when you look at Avoya and what we do from a technology perspective, what we provide to the IAs and the support to train them and free them up due to technology, we feel that that's critical to what we provide. Number 2 secret, build strong client relationships. How can you do that? Obviously, personalization is key in today's travel industry. People don't want to feel like they're getting the same trip as everyone else. What can you do to differentiate that? We help with that. Our brand sales people that I talked about earlier are critical in engaging with you and helping you personalize the itinerary for what people want, not just having the same cookie cutter thing that they can get online. Because if you remember, people have access now, and they never used to, right, Stephanie? I mean, back in the day, they didn't have access to all this stuff. Now everything's out there. So what can you do to personalize your service, your follow-up that we talked about earlier, to make sure that you're staying ahead of these things in today's industry? So that's key. Building trust, obviously the most critical thing. How do you build trust? Provide expertise, understanding of destinations, of suppliers, through the training you received, through the, maybe the FAMs that you've been on, the different events that you've been there. By having all that, you build trust. And at the end of the day, I can't say it enough, follow up. I say it to my kids all the time, the critical, most important thing that you can do, because people feel like they're important to you, and that they mean something. And everybody's busy, but the importance of follow up cannot be said enough. So client satisfaction and loyalty, something we take, excuse me, extremely seriously here. We use Net Promoter Score. And we ask our customers on the Net Promoter Scores is, would you do business with us again? And then we have, it's pretty simple. There's 1 or 2 questions on it. Those scores are critical to how we look at it. We ask our advisors, would they do business with Avoya, obviously, the new ones to us. And then we look at what customers say about the IA relationship and then about Avoya. Those numbers we're really proud of, as high as 94, which is great.
Wow.
Apple, which is a great product, right? We all use iPhones and Apple products. I think their Net Promoter Score is 60, somewhere around there.
Oh,
Mercedes,
really?
like 44. Yeah. So
Wow.
we've got we're really proud of our client satisfaction and loyalty numbers. And a lot of that really comes from what the IAs do. So we can set up everything beautifully. We can spend millions on marketing. We could build programs. We could build, booking engines. We can do all that. But where the rubber meets the road is that interaction with you when you're talking to your customers, that really gets it done. And that's why we're so proud of our network, that to allow us to achieve these goals. And so that's always the goals, and that's what we strive to do, to cultivate those long lasting relationships and repeat business. Probably the
Hmm.
single most critical thing to our, like, if we're going to have a great year or not, is what does our repeat business look like?
Mm.
The great thing about Avoya too is we've got 8 million people in our database of
Wow.
people that have booked with us over the years and traveled with us, or friends, and all that. So we've got this access, um, to that database, and obviously we're looking to grow that as much as possible. So, and I can't just, follow up, follow up, follow up.
Well, okay, quick question for you because we're talking
Yeah,
about personalizing, and
yeah,
you mentioned that training is such an important part of it.
it is.
For the advisors that are newer on here, there's such a plethora of training. You can do supplier, you can do destination, you can
Yeah,
do like host specific, consortia
yeah.
specific. What would you recommend for new advisors on where they should focus? Should they focus on one supplier at first, one destination, so they don't get overwhelmed and are using their time effectively?
That's a great question. So if you're an Avoya agent and an Avoya IC, when you come in, we really work with you on 1 to 2 brands, and to really dig deep into those brands and be experts in that,
Hmm.
because it's impossible to be an expert across the space if you're new to the business. So
Yeah.
my advice to all of you, whether you're with us or not, is just to focus on 1 or 2, really be strong there. And when you grow at Avoya, when you're really strong with those 2, now the leads start coming to you based on
Hmm.
your understanding, expertise, experience, ability to close the lead. All that goes into the scoring and how we build that out.
Yep.
That's a great way to maximize Avoya's resources. When we look at ways that you can grow your business with us, it's taking those live leads based on your understanding and ability to close. And there's many. I could spend 2 hours just going all over the tech stuff that we do to help you grow your business.
That was a great segue into number 3. I didn't even know it.
Yeah, there you go. Maximize the resources. Access Avoya's suite of marketing resources. We didn't talk about that, but a lot of the business we have, too, is Avoya business, and we have those live leads. But we also have a considerable amount of business that we call IA customers. These are folks that have been working with you for years. Those aren't part of the Avoya, suite, if you will. And we focus to try and help you grow that business too. We've launched different commission programs based on whether it's your customer or whether it's your customer or Voya's customer. And so the commission splits range differently on that. If you're interested in all that, let us know. We can reach out to you on how that looks for you, and how you join Avoya through different areas. But there's commissions for Avoya customers, and then there's commission for customers that you bring in. And for some folks that have a lot of, their own business, we'll pay you up to 100% commission on those. So it's
Nice.
it's an important thing to look at. We launched that last year, and it's kind of made a real dent into what others are doing and people joining us.
Yeah, that's unusual too. For those that are on the call, having the 100% option. There are some hosts that have it, but it's not across the board by any means.
No, and it's something we felt we could do because of the size of our group and what we provide. And by having what we love for people to do is bring their business in and then also take leads from us and close those. That's great. But people that have their own business and want to get a bigger share of it with less fees, they join Avoya and get up to 100% based on their, what they're bringing into the business. So we're proud of that. We had a bunch of our folks take advantage of it in the network, and we're seeing some good talk about it and people wanting to come in to join that what we call Elite 100. There was a press release on it, I think, about a week or two ago.
I saw
About
that.
you did. Thanks. Oh, thank you. That's good. Somebody saw it. That's great.
I did, and that's all that matters.
No, it's good. The press has been great to me, to Avoya, in getting the word out on the stuff we're doing. We're involved with ASTA, CLIA, all the different organizations. We stay on top of all that stuff and have people that have that as a focus. So those are important organizations to all of you as you join. And going back to the academy real quick, when you go through the academy, you'll be given ASTA and CLIA to be able to the option of joining those as well. So that's important, for you folks that are thinking about that. Stay top of mind throughout the planning and booking process. Obviously important. We help you with tools. We talked about one with the price change emails and the different support products that we put out there. That's important. And then leverage these resources for lead generation. Clearly important to what we do is to continue to drive new leads. How do you do that? By working your existing database, by working the database through Avoya. As you build up what I call your book of business, it's amazing what you'll see when you leverage your friends, your resources, people to help you grow your business. And we help with all of that. What's nice about what we do, Stephanie, is that all these things are nice when you just say them, right? Like somebody comes out and says all this stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can do that. But when you come to Avoya, you've got a team of people that's their job. Like brand sales has 6 people that all they do is focus on new people coming in and getting them up to speed. Network enrichment has 7 people that are creating training programs, that are working with you one-on-one, that are helping you understand the process. So you'll hear a lot that they do. A lot of networks will say that they do all this, but make sure, the other thing I always say is inspect what you expect. Make sure that you're getting that support and that you're getting access to these systems and all that. It's critical, especially as on your new path.
Yeah.
This is just a quote from one of our advisors. I joined this almost a year ago. I probably wouldn't be here without the support of Avoya. Huge shout out to the Aoya Travel Academy for exceptional education, and to the network enrichment team for teaching us everything about the booking engine. So that's the kind of stuff that we're hearing from people. And it goes back to what we had just talked about, support being so critical to our success.
Edina's got a great agency name too. I love it.
Yeah, it's a good one. Staying ahead with industry knowledge. How do you do that? It's, continuous learning is essential. We talked a little bit about that. What do we do? Sorry, you guys are probably seeing my Teams notes pop up.
No, we're not.
Oh, good. Continuous learning is essential for staying ahead in this fast-paced industry. That's why we have 30 events. That's why we do up to 20 weekly webinars. That's why we put you on with somebody to learn the business. That's so critical because there's so much coming at you all the time in this space. And also the way we run our preferred partner network is not everyone's preferred with Avoya. We're really critical of what cruise lines, tour operators, hotels, airlines that we want in our network. And so we try, because it's impossible to boil the ocean, right? You've got to focus on what you can do. And we try and break it down for people to choose the best of the best when working with us. Leveraging the Avoya's training and education programs. I talked a lot about that. and networking, and the networking and the one-on-ones by attending these events, by attending conference, showcase, regional events, destination days. They're just so critical to getting ahead in this space. I cannot say that enough, but those one-to-one interactions, it's challenging in this environment sometimes when you're home or you're working away from some to connect with people. So that's why we want to do the best of both worlds. It's great to be to be a home based, um, and to have that, that freedom of being home based and be able to do your job everywhere. But you need to network, and you can network online, obviously, with the different events that we talked about, the destination days, the virtual days, all the webinars we do. But the events and the ability to shake someone's hand, understand more, and have those conversations, I think is critical to success as well.
Yeah, I 100% on board with that for new advisors. If you can, to save part of your budget, if you have it,
Yeah,
for at least one in-person event,
yeah,
because the networking in the travel industry on the B2B side, where you're meeting with vendors or your host agency, makes all the difference.
I agree. Probably this when you're at an event, like it's great to hear from me or our owners or whatever, and to hear what's going on. But where you're really going to learn is in those like roundtables and one-on-ones that are set up that we do, and all
Hmm.
that. And it's amazing with the supplier response. We just launched, or we just announced our 25 events, and they're sold out already for our suppliers.
Oh wow, I've got to chat with your events team and get these on the calendar. So yay!
Yeah, you should. Yeah,
Even though
so
they're
we
sold out, but then we can like show off they're sold out for you.
Yeah, they can show that and put it on the calendar. But for suppliers, it's sold out. But obviously, we're going to make room for our, folks that are in our network, and try and find ways for them to interact and network with our group.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent.
Um, all right. So, what does it mean to be part of, join a community of top performers? When I look at like where we sit with the suppliers, and I hear from them all the time. That's part of my role here. We're some of the big companies. We're either number one or number two in overall sales for them, and we're especially in the luxury sector, with some of the big cruise lines. We're at a very high level. So we built these relationships over the years. So we're looking for people to join our community. We've got over 2,000 travel connoisseurs who are delivering unforgettable travel experiences. What does that mean? Understanding the business as much as you can, making sure you're networking as much as you can, following up. And so we're really proud of the net promoter scores, the feedback we get on our community. And I'm proud of that network. It's probably one of the things. I've been here 14 months, but I've been working with Avoya for many years. But to be able to stand on stage and look out at all these people and know that Avoya is doing a lot to make their lives better, to let them earn more, to have them to have them understand the business better. It's something that I take a tremendous amount of pride from, and the team does as well. Explore our innovative marketing, technology, and professional development solutions that pave the way for endless success. I talked a little bit about this. It's been 50 minutes. Obviously, you can learn a lot more about Avoya. And we appreciate what you do for us as well, and just getting our messaging out there, the reviews, and all that as well. We really appreciate that.
Well, we love
Uh,
working with you, and definitely check out the reviews because Avoya is really great at keeping updated reviews in there, which is really nice. So you're
yeah,
getting the latest data and what's going on, because Phil's talked a lot about all the new initiatives they've launched in the last year. And so reviews can become outdated really quickly, and you guys do a great job of keeping them updated.
yeah. Well, thanks for providing that platform. Um, so mentorship's important too, like working with people that have been in the business a long time. Our top 10 or top 100 advisors, or some of them, I mean, we've got advisors that are doing $9-10 million a year.
Wow.
And what's great about these people is they'll stand up in conferences, in webinars, and tell you what they're doing. Like, it's
Mhm.
not like secrets. Like, they want everybody to succeed. And I haven't necessarily seen that everywhere I've been in my journey, but I've seen it here, and it's impressive to see.
That's really
And
neat.
that mentorship is pretty neat. Yeah. Here's another review from Nancy. I cannot thank or praise Aoya Travel enough. I am new to sales and to the travel industry. Thanks for their incredible education, support, software, and lead. So the stuff we talked about today, I've not only met but exceeded my wild expectations. I've made more than $1 million in sales all through live leads in the last year. If you're looking for a host agency, Avoya is the only way to go. So that's a tremendous quote from Nancy. But you know, she put in the time, obviously learned everything she could, really dug deep, and she's done over $1 million in her first year, which is amazing.
Wow.
So it's out there. The ability to do that is here. And it's just about how much you want to put forward. And then any questions, anything come up during the call? I know I spoke for 51 minutes without taking a breath. So I don't know.
No, I was in there too, asking questions too.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Remember
good.
when I was hijacking things?
Yeah, no, that's good. I appreciate that.
No questions at all right now, but I know that so if people are interested in learning more about Avoya, obviously we'll link to your page on the site. And then, okay, perfect. We've got all the contact information. And again, if you're watching this, I know a lot of people watch this not live. You know, if you have questions, you can either email here, you can leave it in the comments, you can leave it the Q&A on Avoya's profile on the site. There's a lot of different ways to reach them with any of the questions you might have. Well, Phil, what because you have so many events, what's your event like next event coming up for your network?
So the next event for the network is probably, you know, destination days and different virtual events. I don't think for this year, because we've got Thanksgiving's next week, which is amazing how fast time goes. And then the holidays. I think we've got our best of the best trip in January, which is on WinStar, and that's based on tier levels on how much you've sold. And we take, and it's, you know, obviously it's something that we, you know, give back to the advisors for that, and we take them on these different trips. We've got a couple in the year. One is the best of the best on WinStar in January. That's probably the next, like, probably networking event where you'll have suppliers. And next, actually, you know, in person would be that, and then another one followed up in March on Oceania. And then we build out the event schedule with regionals and different abilities for people to connect.
Cool. Okay, and we've got a question. Could you define a live lead? How is that different from a regular lead?
A live lead is somebody who's, you know, reached out, whether it's through our website, email, phone call, and is literally ready to book. You know,
they're on the phone right now.
Well, a lot of times they can be. They're live in that, you know, it's like they're fishing. They're there now, and we try and make that interaction as fast as possible. And based on who's logged in into our network, and, you know, their close rate percent and all the different, you know, numbers that go into who gets that lead. If someone's trained up and they're available, then we will pass that right over. And sometimes it's somebody who's on our website asks a question. We can have them talking to an IA in no time. That's why we call it, it's kind of, you know, proprietary, the software and everything that we do behind it, but that's what we call a live lead. And obviously we've got leads as well, smart leads and different programs that we have, but the live lead program is really just a proprietary name we've given it at Avoya.
So what's a smart lead?
A smart lead is something, it refers to repeat business, and there's some algorithms and different things we do in there that, you know, not necessarily something I get into for this call because I don't have the time, nor would you want to hear all the stuff. But a smart lead is something that we feel is that, you know, is a repeat person that's interacted with us on email. Maybe they got direct mail. They're starting to, you know, talk to us on chat or different things. And so we've got different ways of categorizing leads and pushing those out.
Excellent. Cool. Well, again, if you have questions, pop them in there. And if you're watching this at a later date, don't forget, especially if you're watching it within the next 24 hours, don't forget to register so that you can get any resources that we sent. We talked about, I mentioned a couple of the, like the Internova Index report, and I know Abby put in, CLIA just put out their 2023 global cruise industry report yesterday or the day before.
I saw that.
So we'll link to those for you. So make sure you register so that you can get that information as well as the slides. Well, Phil, I don't see any more questions. So anything else you want to go over before we close things up?
I appreciate the time. and the platform to be able to talk to folks, and we're here for you. Reach out, do your homework on, where you're joining or what you're doing. And, we're here to answer any questions. And we feel like we're the best, obviously, because what we do on the technology side, but also what we do from a training perspective as well.
Perfect. Well, if you guys have questions, you know where to reach them. And Phil, thank you so much for coming on. It was a joy to spend the last hour with you.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Oh, wait, okay. Someone was asking how to register, but Abby's on top of it, gave them the link. Carrie, you should be good to go. Yeah, so thank you for joining us,
Thank
Phil.
you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for the time, guys.
Yeah.
Have a great day and a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Take care.